In September of 2019, Dead by Daylight signed a deal with Netflix, and Demogorgon joined the game. It was a very different time. Nurse could have up to 5 blinks. Dead Hard was incredibly overpowered. But then, in November of 2021, Netflix pulled the deal. If you didn't have demo already, you didn't get to buy it. Nurse was nerfed to her current maximum of 3 blinks. I didn't care because I was playing an incredibly unhealthy amount of Apex Legends. Like, way too much. My controller overheated and didn't charge for a few months. I bought a new one and overused the sticks so much that they now have permanent drift. I spent over $500 on that Then, November 2023, 2 years later, something unexpected happened. Demogorgon returned, and everyone rejoiced. Those who joined late could finally get it. People who were too broke to afford it now have a chance. And also Steve and Nancy, and I guess John too, but nobody really cares about them. So you want to learn how to play the Demogorgon. Maybe you love the license, or maybe you panic bought it out of fear Netflix pulls the deal again. If you happen to be in the latter category, don't worry, I did the same thing. Whatever the reason, this video should teach you the basics of demo, and hopefully jumpstart your way to Prestige 100. The Demogorgon is an extra-dimensional organism from an alternate reality known as the Upside Down, a near-perfect recreation of a small town known as Hawkins, Indiana, stuck in the year 1983. It serves a larger hive mind known as the Mind Flayer, hunting humans for food. In-game, this translates to complicated as shit power and incredibly simple power, with a third semi-power attaching them both. But back to basics, the Demogorgon is a 115% killer with an average terror radius. It has 2 main powers, traversing the Upside Down and shredding. I'll cover portals first, since they are the more complicated part. You begin the game with 6 portals, which you can place on any smooth, somewhat wide space. While standing on a portal, you can travel to any other portal on the map, activating them both. Once you emerge, you gain the undetectable status effect for 5 seconds, hiding your red stain and terror radius. However, there is an animation of you emerging from portals, as well as a sound cue that appears before you emerge from the portal to give survivors a chance to run. There are 2 types of portals, active and inactive. Inactive portals are invisible to survivors. Active portals are visible to both the killer and survivor, and can be sealed, destroying the portal and returning the charge to you. While sealing a portal, survivors get the Oblivious status effect, which hides your red stain and terror radius for that specific survivor. Its second power is Channeling the Abyss, which sounds really cool, but it's not. While it's channeling Abyss, Demogorgon moves at a slower speed of 3.86 meters a second, or 96.5% speed. While it's fully charged, any survivor within 4 meters of an active portal will have Killer Instinct active on them until they leave the radius. In addition, you can perform a shred attack, which launches you forward a decent distance and deals damage to any survivor you hit, as well as breaking dropped pallets and breakable walls. The distance is dependent on how long you charge the Abyss, but as long as you fill the meter, you should be able to get a good distance. After you use the shred ability, there is a lengthy cooldown where Demo screams and looks at its hands, wondering what it's done. Your turn speed is decreased significantly, as well as moving your camera down, similar to after a nurse blink, making tracking survivors slightly more difficult. Now you'd think that such a simple power as shred would be easy to code, and not have any weird interactions with map geometry, but this is behavior we're talking about, so sometimes this bullshit can manage to hit a survivor. Don't ask me how. I don't know. Due to the complexity of the portals, the difficulty of using shred effectively, and the juggling of multiple powers at a time, Demogorgon is a good killer for people with a decent amount of experience, somewhere between Wesker and Artist. The Demogorgon's perks are varied, with a couple of really good ones, and one that's okay, similar to most young adult novel trios. Its first perk is Cruel Limits, formerly known as Claustrophobia, which will block all vault locations for 30 seconds after a generator is completed, as well as revealing the auras of all blocked locations. This is an okay perk, nothing overpowered, but it's not bad. It pairs nicely with Coup de Grace and Pig, since it activates once a gen is complete, just like Coup de Grace and Pig's traps. Its second perk is Mindbreaker, formerly known as Fearmonger, which will inflict survivors with exhaustion and blindness while repairing a generator, which lingers for 5 seconds after they get off the gen. If a survivor is already exhausted, the exhaustion timer is paused. This is pretty strong, making any survivors who are repairing completely clueless. It blocks Kindred, one of the strongest survivor perk, and prevents that 1 meg from sprint bursting across the map the second she can hear your terror radius. Its third and final perk is Surge, formerly known as Jolt, which will make all generators within 32 meters explode, lose 8% progress, and start regressing whenever you down a survivor with a basic attack. This is actually really fucking good, doing easy background regression fairly frequently. It works very well on M1 killers such as Legion, Wraith, and Sadako, since they can only down survivors with basic attacks. It may not work as well on killers who use secondary attacks, such as Xenomorph with its tail attack, Pyramid Head with his Punishment of the Dam, Nurse with her blink attack, thanks Jesus, and ironically Demo itself with its Shred. Demo's add-ons are less varied and game-changing than some other killers, but they are still somewhat interesting and useful. The Rat Liver will increase your movement speed while channeling Abyss by 3.5%, making you move at 100% speed. Not only is this a great add-on, but it's also a brown add-on, which makes it available for pretty much every game you play. Mew's Guts will increase your total portal count by 1, as well as reducing the cooldown for missed shred attacks by 11%. An extra portal allows you to place one at every generator, or to keep one in your pocket for endgame. The reduced cooldown doesn't hurt either. Barb's Glasses will reduce the cooldown of shred attacks after breaking a pallet or breakable wall by 15%. This is a really good effect, since breaking pallets with your shred is faster than breaking them normally even without the glasses, and an important part of Chase as Demo. 11 Soda will reveal the auras of any generators being repaired in yellow while traveling the upside down. This is a bit of a hit or miss add-on, since you can't turn your head while traveling the upside down. And then we have the iridescent add-ons. First is the Red Moss, which increases the time it takes to exit a portal by 15%, but suppresses all sound from emerging, as well as extending the undetectable duration by 8 seconds. This is alright, but not super powerful. Fun fact, Red Moss used to give you the ability to shred pallets and breakable walls before they made it into the base power. The second red add-on is Lepros Lichen, which reveals the aura of all survivors while traversing the upside down, as well as extending the effect by 3 seconds for any survivor within 16 meters of an active portal after exiting the upside down. You can't turn your head while you're traversing the upside down, but even with that, this is incredibly powerful. Survivors also have no way to know if you're running Lepros Lichen, so they may try and juke you only to be met with death. You can't quick and quiet against me, bitch! The Demogorgon is a high mobility killer, being able to teleport across the map with its portals. Some good perks to run on it are Coup de Grace, which gains 2 tokens each time a generator is completed. If you perform a lunge attack with at least 1 token, the lunge is increased by 80% and 1 token is consumed, with a maximum of 5 tokens at a time. Survivors will expect for longer ranged attacks to come from Shred, so you can catch them off guard with a larger lunge. It also works to lunge around corners in Chase, which is one of the weaknesses of Demo. Corners. Discordance will highlight any generator being repaired by 2 or more people in yellow, which lingers for 4 seconds after the second survivor leaves. With Demo's portals, this allows you to quickly get to any high progressed generators and get some good slowdown by forcing survivors to seal portals if they want to finish gens. It'll only pop once per gen, however, so if you don't already have a portal at that location, it isn't going to help much, aside from knowing which generator likely has the most progression. Deadlock will block the most progressed generator for 20 seconds whenever a generator gets completed. This gives some very good gen slowdown and denial, and also gives you some info on which gen you need to protect the most. However, this does not start regressing the generator, so if it's near you when it gets blocked, you have to wait the full 20 seconds before being able to kick it. It can also mislead you, as if no generators have any progression, it'll block a random generator, which can end up wasting your time. The downsides do sound bad, but trust me, it's worth it. Make Your Choice will expose any survivors who rescue another one of their own from a hook for 60 seconds, as long as you are 32 meters away. This is one of the most powerful perks on Demogorgon, since every weakness can be made up for. You have to be 32 meters away, use a portal to get some distance. You can't reach the survivor in time, use a portal to get near them. This does need some setup, because a portal that's too far won't let you catch up, but a portal that's too close will let them get away. But when this works, It works. Survivors will have to think very hard about whether they want to unhook, because it is almost a guaranteed hook state trait. Combined with Scourge Hook, Floods of Rage, the rescuer's aura is revealed for 7 seconds, so they are completely revealed and have no way to escape. Some people like to combine this with Territorial Imperative, which is the only time you will ever get value out of this thing, but please don't. We may be killers, but we do have standards. Don't be a basement demo, unless it's a TTV Steve. Always tunnel and camp the TTV Steve. The Demogorgon is a powerful killer, but it's definitely not overpowered. A good way to counter it is to simply group up. The Demogorgon has slow attacks, making it much more difficult to down multiple survivors at once. You can counter this by focusing on one survivor to down, hooking them, and then going after the other survivors. But if survivors notice you doing this, they might try and block you from that survivor. Another counter is to not seal portals unless they're in a very strong position. Demo doesn't get its portals back unless you seal them, so you can frequently just avoid them with that weird W-shaped thing on your keyboard. Wonder what that does. Make sure each portal is worth the place and well guarded, so that they don't become useless wastes of your power. Finally, you can time a pallet drop just right to stop a demo in its tracks while shredding, stunning it. If this happens, just break the pallet normally and keep chasing. You lose a bit of chase time, but you can catch up pretty easily if you know how to chase. The only real issue will be the emotional damage from realizing the survivor managed to do this to you. For tips, the Demogorgon has more nuance to its power than some other killers, so there are a few things to cover here. Firstly, if a survivor is standing at a pallet and you have your shred charged, use it. If they drop the pallet, more often than not, they drop it too early and you shred it, or they drop it too late and you get the hit. Secondly, if you're standing at a heightened position and use your shred, you can fly a huge distance, potentially catching survivors off guard and getting a hit. Third, if you have a generator that you really want to protect, a good idea is to place a portal right at the gen, place a second portal a short distance away, and then activate the portal right at the generator. This will allow you to lure them into thinking that they're safe before getting a rude awakening with a bitch slap to the face. I managed to use this strategy to get not just 1, but 2 downs on my friend in the same game, and he is significantly more experienced than me. This works even better when combined with Lepros Lichen. I would suggest only using this strategy when there are 2 generators left, since you'll have enough portals to spare. Finally, Demo has some of the loudest footsteps in the game. It's like you tried to walk around while wearing a jingly Santa hat, so be aware of that when you're trying to stealth. The Demogorgon is a very fun and balanced killer, with a strong but fair kit and decent counters. I would rank it around low A tier, definitely good, but not broken. If you decide to pick up Demo, then I recommend making sure you enjoy it before prestiging, since its perks are currently general perks, and the only value you get out of its prestige are the cosmetics. Since it re-released lately, and was deleted originally, it's pretty likely that Demo mains are going to pop up for a while. They'll most likely give up eventually, and then it'll become a semi-common killer. I just hope that more people play Demogorgon than they do this abomination.